What is up? My name is Matthew Makak, and this is Teach the Teach on the Dice Tower, where I teach you how to teach a board game. And in this video, I'll be covering Alchemists. Sorry for the new setup. I, for stupid reasons, cannot use my actual setup. But who knows? Maybe this sounds better, looks better. I don't really know. Although I do miss my awesome chair. Anyways, I am assuming you already know how to play the game, and now you're just looking to teach it to other players. There are plenty of ways to teach games. This is just the way that I like to teach it, and if you have any sort of difficulties teaching games, or this game in particular, hopefully these tips will help you out. Now, I always start off with the three main things. The story behind the game, where you are an alchemist looking to gain the most reputation in this cruel world of science. The objective behind the game, which is to gain the most reputation, and the way the game ends, which is after 6 rounds. So I'm going to go ahead down to the table so I could show you a little bit about how I go ahead and teach this game. So before getting into the actual gameplay of the game, I like to go over what is going on here, because they need to know how the world sort of works in this game. So I explain how this works, and I actually point to their player board saying, like, look at your left side, and I explain how negatives and positives and the colors and all that stuff work. I let them know about the how, you know, taking 2 ingredients and mixing them together will give you some sort of potion, and that will tell you something about those 2 ingredients, where they will then mark it on this page corresponding to the pyramid here. And I let them know that they're going to want to figure all this stuff out and know what these ingredients are actually made of. That way they can actually publish their findings. And ultimately they're going to figure out then how, what ingredient is made up of what sort of symbols. And I'll explain to them that I'll explain essentially this later, but that this is where you're tracking your reputation along the board, and reminding them that this is actually how you win the game to get the most reputation. So once they have a basic understanding of the way the world works in here, and they know how to put like these positive and negative tokens onto their player board and everything, then I actually go into, okay, this is how you actually take actions in the game. So you have them have their 3 cubes and everything, and I just go through it one by one, and I go the way that the board itself shows, right? So, you know, you talk about gaining ingredients, and how that is actually how you're going to make potions, how you can sell ingredients, anything that is skipped for the first round, so this space, and this space, I let them know we're not going to go over it because they don't really need to know it right now anyway. And there's already a lot going on in the game. It's best to just skip it because you can't take that action regardless. You talk about the artifacts and how, you know, the cost of the artifact. You let them know that this is the symbol. I'm actually blocking this. So the cost of the artifact and the symbol of victory points. This is the symbol for victory points, or reputation rather, and how they'll give you some sort of benefit. Letting them know that at like approximately the 3rd round of the game, new artifacts are going to come out, and that they can actually see them over here, right? So if we have our 2nd phase, or I don't know, level 2 artifacts coming out, and that they can actually see it, what they are coming out. I doubt that they're going to actually be looking at what's coming out in the future, but, you know, there might be some people who do. But anyway, so you're going to skip some of those things. You're going to then go into, okay, this is how you actually make potions, right? And discover what your ingredients actually do. And you let them know about, you know, the intern and what happens when, you know, a negative potion comes out in terms of paying a coin. And then you can even let them know about the negative effects of you yourself drinking the potion. You're also going to want to let them know, so once you've explained what each of these things do, what each of these spaces do, you're going to want to explain how you actually take those actions in terms of placing your cubes out, and if you want to take the action again, and then also these double spaces, what they mean in terms of, you know, placing placing 2 of them in order to actually take the action that second time there, and things like that. I will say that when you explain this action in terms of gaining coins, that's when I usually tell them that it is difficult to get coins in this game, and they're pretty valuable because you're going to need them in order to publish and to possibly pay the intern, and also to gain these really great artifact benefits. So you want to let them know that coming across gold is pretty difficult in this game. Once you finish explaining the actions and how to actually take them, that's when I explain to them that the first player is, it always sort of changes by round. And you're going to explain this track to them and what each of these benefits are, and letting them know that you can't actually choose this space, and letting them know you kind of don't want to be part of that space, and it's actually a bad thing, and it's associated with you drinking the potion. You're paralyzed. But yeah, so you just explain that, and then you're off to the races, and people start placing their cubes out, and you let them know to go ahead and do that. Once these spaces become available, that is when you will explain to them what they do. And then you'll also explain to them the bribery, and how that works with the smiley faces, and how you're kind of like bribing the merchant, or you are the merchant, I guess, the person who's trying to buy from you. And so you're going to explain how that action works first with this. Then I like explaining how to publish a theory first before explaining how to debunk the theory, because it just makes sense. It's like you publish something and then somebody would debunk it. So you're going to explain that and explain to them. So I usually have these ribbons out. Now they'll know that they have all these sort of like ribbons as part of their player person or whatever. And I explain that when they place these, so they're publishing their theory onto the board that I showed previously. But you want to explain how you have a couple of, let me see, here we go. 5.1s, and then there's the 3.1, but then there's the question mark, okay? And you're gonna want to let them know that this is associated with the color, and explain that like this is essentially saying you're pretty sure about everything else, but you're not sure exactly if you're right about that particular color. The reason you would put that out, so this is where you actually bring out then the reputation board itself. And it all comes back around to this circle, right? So now you're saying like, okay, this mandrake is definitely this, or whatever it might be. And you explain how you actually place out one of those types of ribbons face down on there. And the reason you would do that, even if you're not entirely sure, is because you get that reputation, and possibly even getting money if people endorse you on that reputation. Things like that. I mean on that theory that you just published. You're also going to want to explain how to get these then when you're explaining this stuff. So you're going to want to explain how to get these and what they do, and then what happens when you turn it over, what this means in terms of now having to complete 3 of the findings there. And you also want to explain this reputation track in general and how they're all bunched up into groups, where the smiley face actually comes into play now for that merchant area, and the things about reputation. And then you can go into how you actually can debunk someone, and how it's good that if you've been debunked, but the ribbon you showed, right? Let's say you had the question mark and it was green, and it turns out that the only thing that was wrong with it was green. You won't actually lose any points, which is great, because you had already gained point for publishing a theory, and now you won't actually lose any reputation, which is great. At that point, I show them their player board again, and I tell them to like look at the right part of their board. This is how you gain points, essentially, at the end of the game. And it also tells you how you're going to gain negative reputation. I'm saying points, but I mean reputation. So you're going to want to show them this and say like, okay, at the end, this is how you're going to gain all of your reputation. Finally, you're going to want to show them this bad boy. So actually, is this the 3-sided? No, this is the 4-sided. So I've been showing you the whole 4-sided board and everything. Obviously, if you're playing with 3 players, you'll explain that. But So when it gets to, I'd say around, when there's only like a couple of rounds left, you're going to want to let them know that this is going to cover those spaces where you get to test your potions, because now the exhibition is going to come into town, where you actually get to showcase what potions you know how to make, and letting them know that they have to have the ingredients in order to actually showcase this, and how reputation works here, and the benefits of going first and all that stuff, and how getting it wrong actually gives you negative reputation, which is pretty bad since we're towards the end of the game. You don't want to lose any more points. And essentially, that is how I teach Alchemists. So I'm going to bring you on back to my face. And that is how I teach Alchemists. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any sort of questions, please leave them down below in the comments. If you have any sort of ways that you like to teach this game, please let me know down in the comments below. This is a game that is a lot. It is heavy. There's a lot going on, I feel. Anyway, so, I mean, maybe there's other folks who think this is very light. I actually think this is a pretty heavy game, and there's a lot going on. So making sure that the players know this is your first time playing through it, you might make mistakes, you might not understand all the deduction and all that, but that's okay. I know that I still don't quite understand exactly how to figure it all out, because, you know, it doesn't work for me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will catch you all next time. This has been Teach the Teach on the Dice Tower.